What is happening, people? How we doing? How we looking? How are we feeling? Say what's up if you are in the chat here. Appreciate you guys being with us. Really not us, with me. This is going to be your last week with only me, which I know a lot of people are going to be excited about. Zach is going to be coming back beginning of next week, or probably by the end of this week. I think he comes back potentially Friday for you guys, or Thursday night, excuse me. But once again, say what's up if you're in the chat. We do have a jam-packed live stream today. We're going to do a Dynasty startup. Yes, we have finished all of our Burrow leagues, which is unfortunate. We're going to do some fast drafts. So if you've been dying for some fast draft and itching for it, stay tuned, because we're going to be getting into that. And we're doing some team reviews here as well. But once again, say what's up if you are in the chat. It's going to be a little bit more of an intimate stream here. This is probably the middle of the dead period as well. So we are in full swing of just waiting for training camp to start. And most likely as well, this might be the last week where you'll see a full run of Dynasty live streams, where we're going to be live. We're normally live Monday to Thursday night, which I think we're most likely going to transition to our redraft channel, at least for one or two live streams on our redraft channel. So definitely stay tuned for that. And I'll put that redraft channel in the link here as well. That's going to be there. So make sure you subscribe to our redraft channel. But we appreciate you all. Love. What's happening, Henry? He said, if we only had 250 likes, it would be a real draft. Yes, it would have been a real draft. Would have been the Staten Island one, but that's all good. Daniel Macy smashing that like button. 73 days until the kickoffs. You already know what's happening, Ben. What's happening, Scribble. What's happening, Larry. Yes, he's still on vacation. I think it's his last week. I think he's probably coming back, I think tomorrow, the day after. It's one of those days. I'm not necessarily sure here. But no question, Zach is definitely happy about the Oklahoma City Thunders and bringing the championship to Kansas City, or not Oklahoma, you know what I mean, to Oklahoma. But said I'm sad how it ended though. Yeah, look, it wasn't ideal. It wasn't ideal with Halliburton tearing his Achilles essentially. Has that actually been confirmed? I woke up today. Obviously, with all the replays and everything, you kind of saw that injury kind of come about. You saw like that Achilles kind of popped, and that was kind of the risk, right? That was the risk going into that game, understanding that most likely he was going to put more strain on that Achilles. And it just sucks that it happened in Game 7, right? I mean, look, it sucks it happened, period. But like the fact that you go all the way to Game 7, you fighting for it, and then you know that happens. It's just really unfortunate there. But yeah, Zach is definitely pumped to kind of get that. I would have played too. I completely agree, Scribbles. It's the finals. This is once in a lifetime type of thing. Game 7, a championship is on the line. I mean, if anyone is injured there, you're playing. If you can run and play and be there with any sort of medications or, you know, pain relief, you're doing it. But like when it comes down to that extra level, that next level, it's just, there's nothing much more that he could have done there. And he was starting off hot, right? I think he had like 3 threes. He had like 9 points. I really wonder how that series would have went if he played the whole game. I think it would have been a lot closer. They probably wouldn't have gotten that big run, but who knows. But Cheddar does bring up a good question. Do you have slots for live playbooks tonight? Absolutely, which is a good transition here. So if you guys want to get your Dynasty teams reviewed, all you have to do is clearly sign up using our promo code LAND. You see this beautiful graphic. I'll be making one of these for you, customized to your team specifically. All you have to do is sign up using our promo code LAND on the Flock Fantasy website. Make sure you select the Mother Flocker tier. You're going to link your team, and you're going to make sure you use that slider going all the way up and making sure that is a live team review, okay? So I can put that link in the chat here for you as well. Team playbook there. And at the moment, I'm pretty sure I do have a couple spots. I'm going to be reviewing. Let's just double check here. I just need to double check. I did send a couple messages out for some people that have team reviews. So I have 1, two teams I'm for sure going to be doing today. And here, we can kind of bring this up here. So if you are out there and your name is VB Pretend, you are definitely going to get a team review. Peculiar, I think that's how you say that. Your team is going to be reviewed. Coop, I sent you a message. All you have to do is donate $7 to get that team playbook to go live. I'll give you another couple more days. Same thing with Tommy. And that is it. E Sky also has one. If you out there, or Ski, if you want to get your team review, all you have to do is donate $7 there to upgrade. So there are definitely room to get your team reviewed. So make sure you link your team and use that promo code LAN. Okay, so that's definitely going to be something that we're going to do here today. But before we get into our Dynasty startup, definitely want to answer a couple of these questions and trade questions that we do have here from a couple days ago. Fear and Hunger says, I got a 2027 first and a 27 second as well. So you are sending away Joe Burrow, DK Metcalf, a 26 third, and you're receiving Justin Jefferson, Bryce Young, a 26 first, and an early 26 second. My initial thought instantly is this is a 2 quarterback. Is what's your wide receiver room looking like if you feel desperate to send away Joe Burrow for Justin Jefferson right here? So let's have a look at your team. That's definitely not your team. See, Fear and Hunger. So you're sending Joe Burrow. So you're going to be down tier. Now your wide receiver room is in a massive struggle. But what I would say is with the draft capital here, 103, 111, 110, 111, 203, you're going to be in a range where you're going to get a lot of wide receivers that I like. You know, that 103 could be Travis Hunter. You can trade back, get a Ted McMillan. You can trade back, get someone like an Emeka Mbuka or Matthew Golden at that 110, that 111. I can understand why. I would say your team, especially in a super flex league, is better off with Joe Burrow. If you're telling me you had Justin Jefferson on this team with Bryce Young and Trevor Lawrence, I personally wouldn't want that. I personally would rather have Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence and then have this team build slowly. So you look like you're more of a 1 year punt here, Fear and Hunger. I would definitely wait instead of sending that trade or accepting that trade personally. Not saying this is a bad trade. When I think of this from face value, this is a good trade. But do I want to do this right now? I would personally rather wait and wait with all that draft capital that you have there. But appreciate you, man. Let's go to the next one. Original Eric here. All right, so you're sending away Drake London, Roma Dunze, and Richie Rich here. And you are receiving T. Higgins and Justin Jefferson. 2 quarterback, 12 team, start 10. And this is a tight end premium here. Start 10. That's pretty deep. And that's what she said. My instant thought here is this kind of feels like an even trade, right? Justin Jefferson, the way I'm seeing this, is probably like Drake London and Rome. For someone like a Justin Jefferson and Rashee Rice, it could be an even swap depending on how you feel on with T. Higgins there. So let's have a look at your team. Once again, this is a start 10. Let me just double check. So you're giving away 3 wide receivers to get 2 and tier up there. So you have Drake London currently on your team. So this is your team here. Start 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Man, you're actually sending away some key guys. So instead of having Drake London, Rice, and Rome, you would have Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins, AJ Brown, Shakira. You know, I actually think this is an even trade. My instant thought here with your team is that I might want to keep these 3 wide receivers because of your depth. I like Shakira. I like AJ Brown. I would personally rather wait and see what's going to happen with some of these guys, because I really trust in I believe in Roma Dunze taking that next step, and then Justin Jefferson. But I think this is an even trade. So I think both here are winners. If you really want to go with T. Higgins and Justin Jefferson, I would be okay with that there. All right, the next one here is Met, and then we go straight into the Dynasty startup here. I see your message. Let's see. Cheddar said, just sent in for live playbook. Looking forward to it. Hey, appreciate you, man. I have to refresh, and let's see. Let's refresh here. This draft is going to start right after I answer some of these questions here, Tiny Goose. So give me 2 seconds. Okay, awesome. Let me just double check. Just want to make sure that you have submitted a live team review there, Cheddar. Okay, just make sure that is live. Okay, awesome. So that is a live team review. So you're definitely on the list. I have one more spot for a live team review here. And we're going to go to Met94, who has a question here. And then we can get into this Dynasty mock draft here. All right, so you're sending away Jaden Daniels, Dallas Goedert in the 26th third, getting Malik, TJ, Justin Fields. This is a tight end premium. Really interested to know how much is that premium in this league. Instant thoughts is that down tier for a quarterback is tremendous. If I'm thinking this as a startup here, you know, Jaden Daniels early first, you know, probably 101, 102, Malik Neighbors 108, 109. Down tiering to Justin Jefferson. I'm just not in love with it, but let's have a look and see what your team looks like here. Okay, wait, so this was your team, right? No, so you're sending away Jaden Daniels. So why? Okay, here we go. Jaden Daniels, you're sending away with Dallas. I'm a bit confused. And Dallas Goedert, who you don't have, I'm assuming, anymore. Look, if this is the right team here, you're sending away Jaden Daniels and you're getting Justin Jefferson to then acquire someone like a TJ Hawkinson and Malik Neighbors. I don't think you're in a position to do this, to be completely honest with you, if I'm looking at this team correctly, and that is your team that is linked. I personally will be keeping Jaden Daniels' side just because of your depth. And if this is your team here, Baltimore Birds, you sending away Jaden Daniels for Justin Fields just puts you in even further rebuild with the players that you have. Like, I love Bijan, love RJ, love CD, Brian Thomas, but you don't need Malik Neighbors. You need Jaden Daniels in a super flex league here. If anything, you do need another quarterback, but it's probably not the route you need to go in, right? Like, what I would do is see if you can go out and acquire a low-end quarterback, maybe a Geno Smith. Can you go out and get a Matthew Stafford, just to make it feel a Jared Goff, Bryce Young, Dak Prescott? Can you just get a low-end quarterback? I would just wait here. So I wouldn't be doing this trade here personally, keeping Jaden Daniels. I know the premium might feel significant. Now, if this is a 0.5 premium, I'm not doing it. If this is a full point premium, I still don't think I'm doing this trade with how bad that quarterback room is for you. All right. The next one here. Nothing proposing yet. Just worried if I should try. Right. Okay, so you're sending away CeeDee Lamb. You're getting Drake London, Josh Downs, and a 27 early first. Instant reaction is I don't want to do this. To start 11, I personally would want to keep this. I personally want to keep CeeDee Lamb here. Let's have a look at your team. So you're sending CeeDee Lamb away, getting Drake London in a first and 27. And this is a start 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So adding Drake London, Josh Downs, and getting a 27 first. I just feel like you could potentially Drake London. Like, could that be Drake London and potentially a Luther Burden? That makes it feel a little bit better. You know, like, maybe that's too much to ask for, but I don't want Josh Downs. But in a start 11, I guess that does feel a little bit better. Can I get a Luther Burden? And if you have to throw in your have to throw in a third or something to get that done, or send a second a pick swap, even then that just feels like a lot still. I'm not sure if I'm in love with that one. This one feels a little bit better if I send that away with Luther Burden. Another thing that you can do is add a name like a Jerry Jeudy or Devonta Smith. I think this is where I'll feel a little bit more comfortable sending that second, because Luther Burden, you're still taking a shot, right? I feel like Jerry Jeudy feels a little bit more established in his role, and I will do the same thing with Devonta Smith. Easily send that second. Once again, you may not be able to do that, but I think if you can send some of these trade offers, I would definitely try and do that rather than getting it for Josh Downs personally. So hopefully that helps. All right. I think we are all caught up, which is awesome. Once again, we have, I think, VB, Peculiar, I think I'm saying that right, and then Goofed is who I am going to be doing team reviews, which means I have one more spot for a team review. So once again, if you want to get your team review, all you have to do is use our promo code LAND, and I'll go through that really fast for you guys. So once again, we do have an extra spot to get your team review. If you want a beautiful graphics, as you see here, customized to your team, okay, all you have to do is use the promo code LAND at sign up on the Flock Fantasy site. Make sure you select the Mother Flocker tier. You're going to link your team, and you're going to make sure you choose team review and slide it up and make sure it is a live team review, okay? And then you will instantly be on the list for today here. But this is what everyone came for. You guys want to do a Dynasty startup mock draft here, and I know I wish we could be doing another real Dynasty startup, but that's okay. Once again, a little bit of smaller, intimate stream with you guys as we're transitioning here. I'm going to be, and if you want to join these mock drafts here, all you have to do is join our Discord and then go to the Fantasyland tab with the orange footballs, then go to mock draft. That's where we'll be posting the link to these mock drafts. And I'm going to say posting the link here. Okay, and that's where the link is going to go for this mock draft here. It is first come, first serve, third round reversal, super flex, Dynasty startup mock draft, and I'll send that link here in 3, 2, 1. There you go. There goes that link. You guys should be able to join. I had the thing at the end that says join to let me know if it goes through. Hopefully we can fill this up. Once again, this is the down period of the season, where if you're not doing a real Dynasty startup, I think everyone's like, F this. I'm done. There's nothing else that I really want to be doing here. But if we can't fill this up, that's totally okay. What we can do is go into some fast drafts. And if fast drafts it doesn't go and pop off, then what we can do is also just go into team reviews. Once again, a little bit smaller, intimate stream here with us. And then as Zach gets back, we're going to be transitioning to our redraft channel, which is really, really fun here, which I can't wait to go out and do. And I'll put that link here in the live stream as well if you guys wanted to join that. But let's see here as we're waiting. What's happening, TD? What's happening, Scribbles? What's happening, Fantasy Football Garage? How you doing? It's good to see you guys, man. I mean, I was supposed to go live on Thursday night, and then I just got caught up with so much work. Ben, he says, what brought you, Zach, to Australia, and where y'all from in the U.S.? So we are originally, I'm originally from New York, and Zach he kind of moved around. Like I think he was born somewhere in Virginia or the D.C. area, and then he moved to Kansas City. And now we both live here in Australia. We just came here to kind of live abroad, and kind of live abroad for a year. And then that's how it kind of took off, right? Zach and I met we met in 2016, and then we started to live together, became roommates through mutual friends, and that's it. And now we're here. Now we started this one day randomly, which has been awesome. So once again, still waiting to fill up this this mock draft here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more spots left. Once again, you can join that link in the chat here if you guys wanted to. And if not, then I'll just go straight into what I probably end up doing is go straight into, if we can't fill up a Dynasty startup, which it hasn't happened in a minute, what I'll end up doing is just doing some team reviews. Probably just go straight into that if that's not going to happen here. But I'll give it a couple more minutes. Throw your questions in the chat here if you have any questions. But we are excited. I am excited for the redraft season, as that is coming up really fast. And not only that, the products and the things that we're going to be offering for you guys, I think it's going to be the best stuff that we've ever have done and created in a long time. You know, that's kind of what I've been working on in the back end for you guys, is the new products that we're just putting a lot of time and effort. When it comes down to creating new things for you guys. Because, sorry, I'm just reading this. Because that's what you guys need, right? A Dynasty start. My goodness, who's that? We have a Ring camera and someone's like in front of a house going crazy right now. Anyways, we got, what's this? 4 more spots left. So once again, if you guys wanted to join here, you can do that. But yeah, we're making some really cool products for you guys to kind of go through all that, which is going to be awesome here in season for the redraft. So we got 4 more spots here, and we can go through this. And then what I end up doing, I'll just probably go straight into team playbooks. 4 more spots. Once again, that link is in the chat. Startups aren't on Sleeper anymore. They are on Sleeper. We definitely do it on Sleeper, but we definitely want to showcase a little bit more of the mock draft tool here on the Flock Fantasy site. Just because, you know, the devs have been curating a lot of this in the back end, which you guys have been utilizing and has been fun. So we just want to make sure we continue to do something like this with you guys as it is going here. Once again, giving it a couple more minutes. I'll give it until 45. And if it doesn't fill up until 45, I'll just move on. But want to give you guys the best possible chance. It says, I miss our real league startup action. Yeah, I miss it too. You know, I think you can kind of see why people aren't as active, because they don't want to do mock drafts, especially in the off season. They would rather see real drafts happening live every time, which has been great to do those live streams. Once again, I wish we can have gotten the Staten Island one. There's a part of me that's like, oh, we probably should have just done it, right? I should have just started it up and just had it going, but I feel like it would have been unfair for our community if I would just had a bunch of random people join and signed up, and then you guys have been waiting for a long time here. Now, all good, Scribbles. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. 2 more spots here, which is awesome. It's what part of New York are you from? So I'm from Brooklyn originally. Born and raised in Brooklyn, and then we moved to Florida like when I was like in 8th grade, 9th grade. So I did my high school in Florida, in Tampa, Florida. So I was there for a while. I was there for about like 6 to 7 years, and then moved back to New York for like a year or 2. Then went back to Florida for a year, and then I moved to Australia. Yeah, it is 3rd round reversal. It is. So that was fun. I miss America. I can't wait to go. Is it 5 in total? Go Nets. Now go Knicks. Come on. Go Knicks. Next year, we'll run it back. See you there. 2 more spots here. Once again, letting you guys try and fill this up here. If not, I'll just do some team reviews which I need to set some of these. I need to set some of these chalkboards up, and I think that's probably what I'm going to end up doing. It is a tight end premium, yes. Just 0.5 tight end premium, so nothing too crazy for the mock-up or the Dynasty startup there. All right, we got 1 more minute here, 2 more spots. I don't think we've ever had trouble filling up a mock draft in such a long time. 466. All right, just setting up these playbooks for you guys here. And then Goofed is going to be on the last one here for today, it looks like, which we'll just set up. All right, this is what I'm going to do. What I'll probably end up doing is going straight to playbooks. We have 1 more spot, if anyone's out there. I don't know you guys want to do it, but I think, oh, here we go. Here we go. I think we filled up, which is great. All right, yes, this third round reversal. All right, here we go. Let's start this up. Appreciate you guys. Took a minute, but we are there. Third round reversal, Superflex, Dynasty startup, mock draft here. Let me just make sure this is correct. This is 2 quarterbacks. This will be hell if it's a 2 quarterback and not Superflex, but I think it is Superflex the way it's set up here. All right, cool. Appreciate you guys. We can go through this. Yeah, this is Superflex. Okay, awesome. Let's see if I can sort through analysts. No, I can't. Still. I remember that was a thing. Okay. Well, we're here. We're going. Appreciate you guys. All right, let me set this up really fast, and then we can go straight into team reviews after this. Gotta put some music in the background, so I'm not just dying of muteness in the background. All right, nothing too crazy. Daniels, Lamar, Allen. Then we got Neighbors. Whoa. Keep in mind, this is Dynasty, which is nothing wrong with that. You can go Malik Neighbors. Wasn't expecting Malik Neighbors there at all. And I guess you kind of just projecting, right? Like Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow at the 107, excuse me. Yeah, wow. Just making sure this is right settings, yeah. Okay. What am I doing here? Guess I'll go CD. I feel like I would normally go Malik there. But I guess I'll go CD here. At the 109. I'm okay with that. Six, we're running back quickly. Are you talking about the leagues for this year? Yeah, right. It says I'm all in for Burrows, Foxtrot, and the $10 quickie. Yeah, we got to see. I think what we're going to do here, actually, when Zach gets back, we're going to be talking about redraft stuff. So we're going to be talking about how if we're going to do redraft leagues with you guys, if we're going to bring the redraft leagues back, which I think a lot of people want those back, but we just need to wait and see because we want to, constantly have redraft leagues kind of pumping out for you guys, because people love to see the real ADP. people would love to see the real ADP and how that is going to be working out, right? And I'm on the clock here. So Bijan, Gibbs, Bowers. I think I know who I'm going to take here. Let's go Ashton Genty here. CD Lamb, Ashton Genty. I think that's a nice thought there. Yeah, well, that's kind of why we're doing this, right? Joe, we're trying to figure out what are some things, and normally what happens is that the devs on the back end can kind of see this mock draft if there was any glitches. So the more we do, the better it is for them that we can iron it out. But we're, obviously Sleeper is clearly dominant over kind of all the draft platforms. So we're gonna wait. We're not saying that we're trying to be better than Sleeper. I think we know how great that is. We're just trying to create something for ourselves that we can implement our rankings, and you guys can use our rankings as a tool. Because we know a lot of your leagues are on Sleeper, and if you use that, and then you can see our rankings and do mock drafts with our rankings on there that you can utilize and click and do as you are promo code with whoever, with us or anyone on the Flock Fantasy website. You can kind of see that there, which is great. It's a trade window. This is a moment to a best ball redraft as well. Yeah, I think what we're going to be doing for redraft is a lot of fast draft and clearly a lot of mock draft for in season. So we're kind of going to be pumping all that out immediately. Like I said, it probably will be this time. Like, if I were to imagine what next week is going to look like, I would say we'll do a Dynasty startup again. And if not, then maybe we'll just end up transitioning fully to redraft channel. So I think we're definitely going to do some sort of startup or team playbook review still on our Dynasty channel, and then on redraft we're most likely going to go live there twice and start implementing all the redraft content. And obviously you guys know Zach has been releasing content on our redraft channel. He just actually released a video on our YouTube channel, our redraft channel earlier today. So I'll put that link in the chat there for you guys to kind of check out. And I think a lot of you guys can utilize that. I know, like, you guys are thinking Dynasty and this and that, but this is the latest video that Zach has posted. 5 breakouts ready to feed your family in fantasy football this year. And these are guys that we believe that, and Zach believes that, easily are going to have a big year 2 going into the 2025 season. I'm on the clock here. This is an easy pick for me, no question about it. You guys know who I'm going to take here in the 3rd round reversal. Justin Herbert. I don't even have to look at anyone else. I already know that I'm going with the quarterback there. So yeah, all that redraft channel is kind of popping off. And make sure you go out and subscribe over there as well if you guys haven't subscribed, and show Zach some love on that redraft channel, because especially by commenting, make sure you like that video, you comment on that video, just because that helps, especially as we're transitioning. Honestly, guys, I say this every single time, but it's gonna happen faster than you think. We are currently in the last week of July, okay? Next week, of June. Then we have 2 more weeks, or 2.5 to 3 weeks of no football, and then training camp starts. Let me find out when training camp starts. 2025 training camp, NFL. I'm pretty sure training camp, the earliest, let's see. The earliest for the Cardinals is July 22nd. So it's actually less than a month from now that training camp starts to happen. And then it has picked up. It is back to football season. I think normally what happens is that the casuals come back during training camp, and then they get all these reports. You're going to see all these hypes. You guys know the drill. right? We do this every single year. You're gonna see all the hype. You're gonna see all the reports. You're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe the wide receiver 4 in this team is getting so many catches in camp. I can't wait to see him dominate. And then it floods. Everyone starts to flood in. We'll do mock drafts. We'll have hot takes. We'll have my guys, which is really exciting. I'm really excited for my guys. I think I have a couple in mind. Didn't do too well last year. I think the one that was really disappointing last year was Dalton Kincaid. I think a lot of people had Dalton Kincaid as my guys. But if I had an early my guy that I had to tell you guys, the one that instantly comes to mind is Ricky Pearsall. That's the first one that comes to mind as an early my guy. Trying to think of somebody else. I wonder what the majority of my guys are going to be actually. Let me have a look at some players and let me have some players and see what people are kind of leaning to, I think. Let's see here. Trying to read the market and what everyone is going to be looking at. Yeah, I actually think George Pickens is going to be a big one. I think Martin Harrison is going to be a big one this year. For a lot of people, I think a lot of people are going to select him to be my guys. What else? Let's look at another group of people. That's probably about it, the ones that I can think of. I would also say names like J.J. McCarthy are going to be my guys as well. He just went off the board. A lot of, he says I like my start 2 young quarterbacks, but he was full quarterbacks. Yeah, the 312 tablet. Oh, shit. I pressed the wrong button. Yeah, Daniels, May. You're getting May there. The 212 is kind of nasty. And then Amari on there. There goes Jordan Love off the board there. Which you guys know. Once again, I mean, if you were watching our Dynasty startups, our real league drafts here, you guys know I took Brock Purdy. Not in love with Brock Purdy and his upside. But this is the guy I feel comfortable with. I definitely could have played it a different route because I think other people could come back to me at the 5-4. But nothing looks out of the ordinary. I feel like the only thing out of the ordinary is probably Malik Neighbors. Let's have a look. Malik Neighbors. Round 2 feels pretty normal. I think we would always say Patrick Mahomes is a little bit early. I guess Drake May falling to the 212. No, I got him in the 3rd once. This all looks normal here. T. Higgins, Rice going back to back there. So this all feels really, really straight to the point. Baker Mayfield ahead of J.J. McCarthy is definitely interesting. Ahead of Jordan Love, ahead of Brock Purdy is interesting. I still have Baker Mayfield under Brock Purdy, under another quarterback as well that's still available. So that's definitely an interesting type of build for sure. It's a dynasty wide receiver 1. Yo, I like Malik. I'm a Giants fan. I think it's hard to go against. There goes my other quarterback, Michael Penix, that I was talking about. I was okay to potentially take a shot on Michael Penix at the 5-4, but I kind of figured that he wasn't going to come back to me. Now I'm back on the clock here with CeeDee Lamb, Ashton Jeanty, Herbert, and Brock Purdy here. Let's see. Let's see here. Yeah, wow. There's no one that I really love. I guess I wasn't paying attention to the time. Well, I was going to go for a running back. It wasn't Breece Hall, so I'm okay with the position. I think I potentially would have been surprised if Breece Hall falls back to me or falls to the middle of the 6th, but I'm not mad at that pick whatsoever. So, but yeah, when it comes down to Malik Neighbors being the wide receiver one in Dynasty, I think my only counter to that is I can see that the talent's there. My question, and I'm a Giants fan, my question to you is that, or to anyone that believes Malik Neighbors could be the wide receiver one, is like, what is that quarter play going to look like? And does that mean Malik Neighbors, no matter what quarterback he has, is going to be QB proof? Which, in a lot of ways, he was QB proof already in year one with that carousel of quarterbacks, right? Last year, it was crazy to say we had Daniel Jones, we had Drew Lock, we also had Tommy Cutlets. So he went to 3 different quarterbacks and was a top 8 wide receiver last year, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm a little bit interested to know what that's going to look like for Malik Neighbors. And I'm a big believer in Jackson Dart, but when is Jackson Dart going to come out and start? I'm just not necessarily sure. So when I look at the situation, I think talent, I think easily can be on par with someone like a Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson, establishing that by the end of year 2. I think year 1 was like, okay, we can see him having the talent caliber, that superstar caliber like Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. And I think we kind of saw a glimpse of that last year. And I think this year he's going to get himself there. I don't think I would say he's within that Dynasty 1, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 type caliber yet. But if we're projecting and hoping what Jackson Dart's going to be and who we already believe Malik Neighbors is, then I can definitely see the conversation happening. But I think a lot leans on, in my opinion, a lot leans on the quarterback room. This is the reason why Justin Jefferson is not as solidified specifically in redrafts and specifically in Dynasty. He, like, easily last year, even with a mediocre quarterback in a Kirk Cousins, he was still a lot of people's wide receiver one. Jamar Chase has always been my wide receiver one since he came into the league because of the quarterback play. When I looked at their situations and I saw, you had Jefferson, he was in the league for 1 year earlier, or was it the same year? I don't remember. Actually, I have no idea. I can't even remember when they both came in. But anyways, that's how I feel. I think Jamar Chase is by far the wide receiver one in Dynasty, and then there's a conversation however way you want to go. I think there's more established data with Justin Jefferson and how he's going with the quarterback situation. Just hoping for more Tommy Cutlets. He's already shown he's QB proof. Yeah, and I agree. Like, once again, I'm a Giants fan. He is QB proof, but yeah, if that's the case, then we should be easily taking Justin Jefferson over Malik Neighbors, which I think a lot of people are. Nah, Matt, you're all fine. You can ask whatever question you want. And I saw sorry, I kind of went over your thing. It says Koalas, Bree said hi. So sorry. Hi, how you guys doing? Hi, Matt. Hi, Bree. Hope to see you guys in August. Said you can contend or rebuild with Neighbors. Yeah, I think you can. Said Bryce is slept on. Yeah, he is slept on. Oh my gosh, keep doing that. All right, so let's look at this 5th round here. Worthy Golf goes off. Chase Brown is the guy who I was looking at there. There goes Bryce Young at the 11. A nice little run of wide receivers and running backs there. Now I'm on the clock. I think I easily know who I'm going to be taking here. For me, you guys know me. I'm a big Brandon Ayuk guy. I'm going to get the stack there. Getting my wide receiver 2 with Brandon Ayuk falling to me. I think, like, there's an argument to say, like, there's wide receiver 1 tier with Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, and then there's like a wide receiver 1B. I think the distance is fine, If when I mean by distance, I mean like the tiers from that. So okay. So I'm agreeing to taking Kittle at the 5-2 in a startup in the 1 point and a full tight end premium. Meaning that they scored 2 full points. You have the full PPR and then add the 1 point. At the 5-2, I guess it depends on who was available. I think if you're telling me you get George Kittle at the 5-2 and names like Laporta, TJ, obviously Brock and Trey were all off the board, I would be happy with taking those guys. No question. All right, Derrick Henry. All right, so I have my running backs there. Okay. I think we'll continue to build. I'm going to continue to build out that wide receiver position here. In my rankings, I technically have Waddle next. So, fuck. I'm always like taking way too long, but that's okay. I was going to take Waddle, but I'm okay with Matthew Golden staying young there as well. There goes Waddle, so I'm okay with that here. I'm liking the team. My 3 wide receivers, I would have felt better with a name like Chase Brown, even though I know a lot of people don't agree, taking Chase Brown over Brees. But I just feel better in that offense. Both still young. The only difference that's holding me back there is the investment on the team with Brees Hall and Chase Brown. Like, if you think of the difference, what is the difference? Right? We've seen Chase Brown and his production kind of last year finishes the top 10. And then obviously Brees Hall coming off that ACL of last year. Still finishing pretty well, to be fair. He finished as RB2 in 2023, if I'm not mistaken. And in 2024, he was just outside the top 15. So I think he just has one more year there. And I just like the Bengals offense just being significantly better in scoring. So you got my triple QB wide receiver stack, probably not realistic in a real money league. Where are you, Joe? Yeah. Yeah, look, in a real money league, this is why mocks are so difficult. They're fun, but also difficult to kind of take serious, right? Because we take chances and then we say we're going to do some things or try different strategies, but then we tend to go with our heart more than our rankings, right? So what's happened to Andrew? He says 1 quarterback, half PPR, 12-team Dynasty startup. My team so far. This is how am I doing? Daniel McConkey, Brees, Henderson, Hunter, Jamo Addison. I think it's a great team. I mean, I like it. A lot of youth there for sure. I think everyone is still very young. I think your oldest player, technically on paper, I think might be Addison or Daniels. How old's Addison actually? I'm not sure how old Addison is. I think he's 20, 23, 24. Guess it's Daniels then, because Daniels is I think Daniels is 24. Anyways, I think it's a good team. Aaron making a draft pick here. Let me refresh. Let's see. They wouldn't let me pick. That's all right. Yeah, but I think the team is great. I think the team is good. Like, especially in the one quarterback, I think you have the pillars in every position there. So I'm not sure what happened here. I hope the site didn't go to shit, because that would really hurt the flow of this. Could be a GG's. All right, let me just copy this. Let me refresh one more time. If it's not working here, guys, then I think we're just going to go straight to team reviews. Let me try one more thing on the back end here. Give me a second. I'm just going to have to switch screens. Which sucks. Took so long to get into our mock draft and then to go straight to there. Look, we can definitely do it. I think we'll probably end up doing... What we can end up doing... Yeah, it's not working. Looks like the mock draft... shit itself. And I can't even end it if I wanted to, which is so frustrating. The stack trace is looking like, yeah. All right, guys, I think that I'm going to call it there on the mock draft. That's unfortunate. I think what I'm going to do is review some teams here. We still have some spots there if you guys want to get your team review. Thank you for kind of hanging out with me here, doing those mock drafts. We'll probably end up doing a real mock draft. Not a real mock draft, a mock draft on Sleeper most likely tomorrow. But if you guys wanted to get your team review, we do have one more spot for a live team review here. Oh, that's the wrong one. If you want to get a beautiful graphic that you see here on your screen, customized to your team, created by yours truly, something like that, all you have to do is use our promo code LAN at sign up, select the mother flocker tier. You're going to make sure you link your team and you select Zach and Badaki, and you want to slide up to a live team review there. And that's really simple. Once again, that link is in the description. You can do that really simple there on the Flock Fantasy website here. But we're going to go straight into team review. We have 3 team reviews that I get to do here for you guys here today, which is awesome. And let me just do one more thing. Just make sure this is all set up there. Okay. And VB Pretend, if you are here in the chat, please let me know. And always love when somebody is in the chat as I'm doing your team review here. It's just really helpful as we go through that as well. Let me just close these guys off here. All right, 2 quarterback, 12 team start. 10 is your team, which is the middle ground here. That is what that format looks like for this team. And keep in mind, I'm doing the front and the back end here, so definitely bear with me if you see or hear me kind of typing. He says, picked up an orphan, and this team has like 0 depth. Have around 12 slots open for free agency, but think my core is good enough to make the playoffs. Should I try to contend or try to rebuild? Who should my draft targets be and my past draft fab spend on undrafted rookies be? Our draft is 3 rounds. Okay. Your team is dig that pink. Thank gosh. And your team, you currently ranked 8th as well. 8 out of 12. And this is a super flex league here. All right, let's have a look at this team here. Wanting to know if you should contend or potentially do something else along those lines. All right, at the quarterback position here, you have, what I can do is potentially zoom in one more time. And let me just move some stuff around here. Actually, we can do it here. Actually, let's do it here. Okay. Bo Nix, Trevor Lawrence, Matthew Stafford. I would say you can stay put at that quarterback position. You don't have to do anything, especially having Stafford there as a QB3. At the running back position, Swift, Pollard, Najee, J.K., Austin Eckler, and Miles Sanders. So not the strongest running back room whatsoever. And really no one here that you can lean on. I think if there's someone you can lean on here, it'd probably be Tony Pollard. There's still a lot of question marks with DeAndre Swift. We think Omarion Hampton's going to take over that backfield sooner rather than later. You probably have Najee on a really short leash, maybe like a 3-game type of stretch. That's how we're seeing it. At the wide receiver position, where you can start up to 5 wide receivers in this league: Puka Nacua, Nico, Olave, Worthy, Downs, with Stephon Diggs there. So I do like the depth at the wide receiver room with Evan Ingram, Noah Fant there at that 0.5 tight end premium with no draft capital whatsoever. So, man, that's definitely a tough one. I'm gonna put that draft capital as an F. As an overall team grade, I would put this more as like a C plus B minus. I think there is definitely question marks of whether you should compete or not. That I'm saying that's probably the only person he can lean on this team. Am I doing that? Am I leaning on Tony Pollard personally? Absolutely not. But you get what I get what you're saying, because I probably came off wrong. I just meant in the sense of like that's the only person you can lean on this team. You don't have draft capital either. You only had the 308, where in reality that's you take best player available. So this puts you in the windows open category, right? When we say windows open, there's no reason not to compete, okay? Because you don't have your pick in 2026. You don't have your pick in 2027, it looks like. So that's kind of what you want to do. You want to hold, or not hold, go out and can do whatever you can to compete. So untouchables here for your team: Puka Nacua, and we could put Nico Collins there as untouchables. We might potentially have to use one of those guys or somebody to try and get another running back. Holds, I would say, would be Chris Olave. Holds, Josh Downs. I would also say hold DeAndre Swift. I think there's a nice little exciting what if with DeAndre Swift. You can't really sell him for anything at the moment. I would also put a name like actually let's keep it at that, and then we could put more drops there. So drops, I would say you can drop Trey Tucker, you can drop Mike Williams. I would say you can drop Dontavion Wicks as well. And you can also drop Darius Davis as well. That's all the admin here, and there's no one on the waiver wires that is worth picking up. I don't see. No one worth picking up here in the waiver wires here. So you have the 308, which is really nothing. I'll be completely honest with you. That is... Oh, gosh, I'm trying to think of who you could potentially get at the 308, and then I'm going to have to pull it up just so I can give you some hope here at the running back position. I think there is some sneaky value for sure, but no one that like we are jumping for joy. Let me just pull that up because I want to give you actual names. It just said it going for best player available, right? And this is a super flex league. At that 308, maybe like I'm thinking like a DJ Giddens, a Trevor Etienne. Those guys normally fall to the 4th. Maybe you can reach on a guy there, especially not having a 4th like a Kyle Monangai. So what I'll do is I'll bring this here. This is what I would do here as I'm getting this set up, right? I'm thinking like names like once again, at the 308, and that's your only pick, Kamba Nungai is a guy that I would be interested in trying to get. A Brashard Smith. Some of these guys we've seen in our drafts fall to the 4th round. I would like to go out and get Kamba Nungai, Brashard Smith. I definitely want to potentially try and target one of these running backs. I also I'm putting Pat Bryant up front because if he is available there, that's somebody who I would take over those running backs. And Ellick, same thing with Ellick A.O. Manor. He normally falls there around that 3rd round. These are the guys I would definitely be targeting here. That's probably the only person I would target. Like I said, you can go for the Trevor Etiennes, the Jordan James, but those guys normally fall kind of to the late 4th there. So that's kind of the names that I would be targeting. Now, what can we potentially do with your team and players to go out and get, right? I know I said to hold Swift, but what can we get for DeAndre Swift, right? I know we're trying to compete, but can we get a mid-second here? No, we probably can't. We probably can't pivot at all to DeAndre Swift, actually. So what I'm going to do is say players to sell in season, if you can, right? So obviously DeAndre Swift. What's going on? Tony Pollard, I'm happy to sell. Let's see who else you have on your team there. We are really big on, can we sell Xavier Worthy for can we sell Xavier Worthy for like the one which we've seen 105 to like the 109 109 area, because we definitely seen that happen before. We see him go as high as, I think it was 105 or 104. So if you can swap Xavier Worthy there and get into this draft, we would definitely do that. We want to keep Chris Olave. We're going to be keeping Evan Ingram. You're not going to be selling Najee Harris. Najee Harris. You can sell, once again, in season, any second, any future second. But if you can't do a future second, I would also say maybe 2/3, right? 2/3, I would be okay with selling for. Let's see what else we could potentially do for this team here. J.K. Dobbins is an interesting player that you could potentially hold or sell in season. Just because there is a big community of people believing that J.K. Dobbins, which I am kind of leaning towards, I think J.K. Dobbins could take some opportunity away from R.J. Harvey in the sense of, when I say opportunity, I think he would be like the goal line guy. I think we could potentially see R.J. Harvey more as the 1-2 guy, specifically in 1st and 10, second and 5 type of situation. And then J.K. Dobbins comes in for like the 3rd and 1s, for the 4th and 1s, the 3 and 2s. That's kind of what I'm seeing. And then as we get to the goal line area, J.K. Dobbins kind of becomes a vulture of R.J. Harvey, like where he becomes a Jamal Williams for the Lions, 2-3 years ago with Monty. Not Monty, but he was just scoring those touchdowns. They will get down to the goal line. It was Swift, excuse me. So that's kind of what I'm seeing J.K. Dobbins now emerging to be as we're getting closer and closer. I'm listening to more reports. I initially didn't think J.K. was going to be someone that was going to affect R.J. Harvey, and I still don't really believe it's going to be something as significant as like R.J. Harvey's going to lose his job. We just reached on him type vibe in our rookie drafts. It's just more like He's taking the 5 to 8 touchdowns that potentially could have been RJ Harvey's, and maybe the 10 to 15 touches, maybe not 10 to 15, I would say 5, maybe like 5 to 9 touches away from RJ Harvey on a week-to-week basis. So if I can potentially sell J.K. Dobbins once again, I think this is a very, I would just put or Dobbins, or 2 seconds. That's kind of how I'm seeing. You can sell Najee Harris for any future second, or Dobbins for any future second or 2/3. That's how I'm seeing that situation playing out there. To help your running back room, now the more that I'm thinking about this room and I'm thinking about this team, it makes me want to consider your team to be more of an in and out type of situation, where in and out necessarily means should you wait to see what your team looks like in season to compete, because there's a lot of what ifs here. There's a lot of what if DeAndre Swift hits? What if Tony Pollard is a viable running back? So instead of putting you as a windows open, which you definitely should be, is in or out. And being in or out necessarily makes you decide on whether you want to compete now or to go ahead and tear this down, right? So what I'm also going to do is sell in season, or actually out, and then put need to sell in season. And this is going to be your out, and then your in, players to help you compete is the in. The only problem with the in is that I don't see how we can utilize anyone here to help your team, right? My initial thought is, how can we get a James Conner on this team? How can we get somebody along those lines to try and help you? Because right now I feel really comfortable with your wide receiver room going in, but it's your running back room that I'm worried about. What can I do to go out and get another running back, right? So players to help compete. I'm instantly trying to look at that third that you have, and my initial thought went to, can I use that third for a Javonte Williams? I doubt that is possible, but you know your league better than we do. Can I use that third? Once again? Probably not going to happen. But can I do that for Aaron Jones? Can I do that for Zach likes this, Jordan Mason? These guys help you compete now. Can I use that third for Tank Bigsby? I would personally be leaning on the route of the out, of selling these guys and being there, but one to give you both options. That's probably where it falls. I mean, I would also say Etienne. I would try a third with Etienne if you can get that done. I would also say a third for an Isaiah Pacheco. I feel like you would have to give a little bit more. So that 308 plus something, which there's no one here that I want to send, right? Like, we're trying to drop some of these wide receivers. It's a tight end premium. I mean, no one is gonna want to do that in a 12-man league. Noah Fant and Taysom Hill, excuse me, are just not going. There's no one here of value that you can send to try and help you boost your team. Like, these are the names that we're taking shots on to help. Like Miles Sanders, right? If it's not Javonte, at least you got Miles Sanders. Then it goes down to Jaden Blue. Well, technically, Jaden Blue is probably higher. Let's be completely honest. I doubt you can get a third for this player. Once again, I doubt. Look, this is 100% not doable. But what happens if you can get your hands on Garendo? A lot of people are still big believers of CMC. It's the wrong one. Oh man, I guess I would send the Austin Eckler. Really doubt that's gonna happen. I guess you can also say that for here, right? Joshua said, "Don't be lying to him that he can lean on Tony Pollard. He's good." What was some other things here you guys said? Zach also likes Burks. Likes the ship that got steered. That's funny. Look, once again, these aren't deals that we're jumping for joy for, right? I would also say another thing that you could potentially do is send that third. For what about Rashawn Johnson? Once again, how is this going to help your team? Gosh, can I not spell Johnson? How is this going to help your team? It's more about getting all of the running backs from that backfield to help you out. Like, could you get Tajay Spears for Tony Pollard? That's probably the one thing I wouldn't do, actually. So I wouldn't do that. Kyle Monungai. I'm trying to think of other names. I wouldn't do that for. I guess another one you can do. This is really not going to help you compete, but I think we will still do this. Kendre Miller. Anyways, let's think about selling in season. If Tony Pollard, I think this is really similar. Any future second, if you can. If not, you want to do. I'll be okay with the third, 2/3 or a third for DeAndre Swift. I would also say the same thing can be said with Tony Pollard. Right. In season. Xavier Worthy you can sell for the 105, 109. Or what you can do for Xavier Worthy is a mid 26 first. I personally think you are more leaning towards the out here, pretend. And when it does come down to the out, you want to get as much capital as you possibly can. The problem is you leaning towards the out. Keep this in mind. You leaning towards the out doesn't help your team because you don't have your first in 2026. So if you lose and send all this stuff away, you still don't have your 26 and it doesn't control your future. And if you are leading the out and you start to tank and sell your players, you're going to have an early first that you don't have. So maybe what you should do is actually Xavier Worthy for your first. So that's probably the only player that you can sell your 26, either 26 or 27 first back. If you can do that, I would 100% do that. And let's see if we can find your first round. Please don't tell me this guy has it. This Lamar. Who's this guy? Yeah, Lamar Daniels. Not that I can see. 26. Merry Christmas. No. Nope. Okay, so this guy has your first. Can you? Yeah, this guy is not competing whatsoever. Dog pound destroy. Gosh. And this guy, how much want to bet this guy has his first? Let me just make sure that you haven't said anything on the back end there for your team. Just because I want to make sure I cover all the bases here. Sorry. You should also add context that I have all my 27 picks and additional first. Why does that not show? Okay, so context for no draft picks is that I made a pretty big trade in trading away Achan plus the 104 and the 206 for Nico, Olave, Najee, and the 27 first. So you have 227 firsts. Okay. So that gives me a little bit more confidence in you saying it's okay. Or me saying it's okay for 27. Or you getting your first, or me telling you that you can go the out route, and if you can get the Xavier Worthy done for 26 first, your 26 first back, I would be happy with that. So you trade away Achan, the 104, and the 26, and the 206, excuse me, for Nico and Najee. Achan and the 104 for Nico. So you could have had Achan and the 104 and a 206. I don't know, man. I think I would have kept with the nature of your team. Let's just say you had Devon Achan on this team. You had DeAndre Swift and Tony Pollard, and then you had the 104. And let's just say you drafted Tet or Travis Hunter there at that 104. You would have had Puka Nacua, Travis Hunter, and then at the 206, you could have gotten another running back. That could have been a Cam Scannable. That could have been a Luther Burden. I think I would have kept that. Now, you getting Nico and a 27 first back makes it feel a little bit better. But looking at the overall construction of your team at the time, that would have made me feel a little bit better potentially keeping Achan that 104. Because a lot of people do have Travis Hunter higher than Nico Collins in a dynasty perspective already. Let's just see what Keep Trade Cut has them on, right? If it's not ahead of Nico, it's probably damn near right next to him. Wide receiver 15. Okay, wide receiver 15 and Nico's wide receiver 9. Wow, that is a bigger discrepancy than I thought. I feel like a lot of people have Travis Hunter ahead of AJ, ahead of Garrett, ahead of Jackson, ahead of Marvin. I think the only player that is in our latest Dynasty startup has been going ahead of Travis Hunter has been Ladd and Marvin. I think we've definitely seen some Travis over Jackson for sure, but we've definitely seen a lot of Jackson over Hunter. I'm interested to see where Zach has Travis Hunter ranked. Let's see, compared to Nico Collins. I wonder if they're in the same tier. Okay, so Zach has him wide receiver 16, but to be fair, Zach hasn't really updated his wide receivers in the last nearly a month because he's been on holiday. So good to know. Good to know. Either way, I still would feel more comfortable with that, with that trade. But you once again getting that first in 2027, or having that first your first in 27 and a future first, that definitely feels better. But hopefully that helps, man. Hopefully that helps. If you can't get any of this done in trading for another running back, then that's okay. Go out and get Kyle Monangai or Brashad Smith or Pat Bryant or one of these guys. That's kind of the route that I would do going into the season. But appreciate you, man. You should be receiving your playbook here within 24 to 48 hours on the Flock Fantasy site, customized to everything that we drew up here for you today. But all love. We're going to get to the next one here. Get some water. Get some water in this bad boy. All right. The next one up is peculiarly. I think I'm saying that right. Or am I saying it wrong? Maybe English, I'm just dumb. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, that is awesome. So we are all set there, as I am going to be setting this up here on my end. And please let me know if you are here in the chat with us. If not, that's totally okay. Your team name is Control Alt Elite. You love to see it. Control Alt Elite. And you currently rank 4 out of 12. This is a 2 quarterback, 12 team start 10. So another meat and potatoes here for you guys, which is awesome. That's all of our Dynasty startups leagues are essentially. We have some meat and potatoes, or excuse me, middle ground, and some meat and potatoes. He says, new startup, my only pick is a 28 first. Looking at contending for the next 3 years, I guess my main point of contention is, should I down tier Hurts? I probably can't get fair flock calculated value. I think my team is deep enough to hold the SB MVP, the Super Bowl MVP. What do y'all think I can do to gain an edge? Okay, let's see. Let's see here. Once again, ranked 4th. Let me just do a couple admin stuff on the back end here. 5, 3, 6. Okay. Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, and Joe Milton are the 2 quarterbacks, that you have, or the 2 starting quarterbacks that I feel comfortable with. That QB3 is a little bit questionable. That's okay. At the running back position, Bucky Irving, RJ Harvey, Trey Benson, Swift, Tank, and the list goes on there. I like the RB room, especially with RJ Harvey being there, and that really high upside with Trey Benson. At the wide receiver position, you can start to 5 wide receivers, and here's your starting 5. Amon-Ra, Nico, Jackson, Mbuka, Luther, Higgins, Pat Bryant. And then you have Tucker Kraft, Mason Taylor, Terrence Ferguson, and Noah Gray. And like you said, this is a dynasty startup, so a lot of the teams doesn't feel too much discrepancy throughout these teams here. Looking at this team, I think it looks okay. I think you might be right. You might want to potentially tear down from Jalen Hurts. But doing some admin stuff, Jalen Hurts is going to be one of your untouchables, and so is Amon-Ra St. Brown. Doesn't mean because you see them on the graphic as an untouchable, doesn't mean we won't be utilizing them to potentially tear down. Holds, Trey Benson is easily a hold for us. I would also say Luther Burden is a hold for us as well. And then names like Mason Taylor and Terrence Ferguson are holds for us. Terrence Ferguson are definitely holds for us as well. And drops. I think you can drop Will Shipley. What's happening, Ryan? Appreciate you coming through, brother. Just doing some team reviews here. Will Shipley, and I would also say you can drop Isaiah Davis. Is somebody that you can potentially drop there as well. Looking at the wide receiver or the waiver wires, there's no one worth mentioning to pick up. If there's somebody that you can pick up here, which I'll put on the graphic for you, since you do have some, let's see. So waiver wire ads, what I'll put here is just guys I like to take shots on in season, and then you can drop them, right? I see names like, where did it go? Names that I like to take a shot on here is Miles Sanders, right? Can we pick him up, see what's going to happen? If not, we're not going to waste any fab on him. If we can pick him up, we can get him, which is great. I would also say Keenan Allen. I think if he goes back to the Chargers, I wonder what that's going to look like. That's probably the only 2 I think is worth picking up here. I think for your situation as well, Luke Musgrave is also worth picking up. You have Tucker Kraft already in a 0.5 premium If Tucker Craft goes down and then Musgrave breaks out, just like what we saw last year when Luke Musgrave goes down, then Tucker Craft breaks out, does that happen vice versa? Then if that's the case, at least you have that backup, right? I personally think you could potentially drop a name like Noah Gray. Not saying you should or need to, but if you need to make room, I would be okay doing that, dropping another name like Noah Gray, just because I know Travis Kelce is most likely going to stay for this year. But I think the Chiefs will most likely be a team that's going to not lean on some of these rookies. I think they would go out and draft a tight end or potentially trade for one, to replace Travis Kelce. And go from there. All right, looking at your draft capital, we're just gonna put that as an F. It's not good. You don't have first until 2028. Your overall team grade, I will say this is just kind of a B flat. Nothing too crazy. There's some high upside guys here, and then your pathway forward is going to be windows open. Why not compete, right? You don't have your first in 26. You don't have your first in 27. So we're going to try and do everything to go and compete right now. When I look at this startup here, it looks like you had. It looks like you traded to get an extra first in this startup, it looks like. So I'm assuming when you're watching this back, if I'm guessing this correctly, you had a top 5 pick with Jalen Hurts, or maybe top 8. Then you go out and take an Amon-Ra at that turn. Then you had Nico Collins. It looks like you could potentially had a pick at the edge here. I feel like if you had Amon-Ra, your original pick was probably somewhere around, I don't know, maybe you traded in, because anyways, you probably looks like you went Jalen Hurts, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Nico Collins. You probably came back and got Bucky Irving, then Jackson Smith and Jigba, then RJ Harvey. That's how I'm seeing this draft go here for you. And you probably, looks like you probably traded a lot of your picks in the startup here. Maybe you gave up a 5th, a 6th, or a 7th, to go out and trade up here, including your firsts and your seconds and stuff. But I can see why you don't have any firsts, because you have a lot of players that do go close back to back. Like a lot of people start Amon-Ra, Nico Collins as their first and second overall pick, right? No one really starts Jalen Hurts and Amon-Ra there. So let's go to the chalkboard here. This is the chalkboard. We don't have draft grades here. So you're clearly wanting to compete. That was one of the things that you did mention here. I think my team is deep enough to hold. What do you think I can do to gain an edge? To gain an edge in a league like this, and let's have a just look at these other teams here. I just think it's getting that other wide receiver on your team. And I think what you did mention is potentially tearing down from Jalen Hurts. And it sucks because if you're tearing down from Jalen Hurts and you potentially, that was your draft pick, that would suck, because it's like, well, I probably should have traded that Jalen Hurts pick to then tear back to get Amon-Ra instead of trading in to get Amon-Ra and Nico Collins. Okay, let's have a look here. Tear down options from Hurts, right? I'm just going to have a look at some of these quarterbacks here that I would like to tear down from. I'm just going to put this over here so I can look at some of these names. And then, so when I think of quarterbacks that you could potentially tear down and get a good return on, that we can explore, instant names that come to mind: Justin Herbert, Brock Purdy, Jordan Love, Jared Goff, Michael Penix, Jared Goff, Brock Purdy, Jared Goff. Michael Penix here. I feel like you can go JJ McCarthy if you want. We can explore JJ. You can also explore Trevor Lawrence. I feel like that's a bit too low for me. Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray you can explore. We can have a look at Kyler Murray. There's a lot of names here that we can explore to tier down from Jalen Hurts here. So let's have a look for Justin Herbert. Let's look at the team who has Justin Herbert. This is probably a smaller tier down. But let's have a look. Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert here. This guy has... Oh my gosh, so this is what you did. You traded all your picks to this guy. Look, my instant thought was Justin Herbert, Ricky Pearsall, and your first back. Now, this may be a lot, but Justin Herbert plus Ricky Pearsall plus your first. Your 26th first. This feels a little bit too much. That's basically, I think that is a bit too much for Jalen Hurts. I could be wrong there. Just trying to think of if that is enough. I'm interested what the calculator says here on the Flock Fantasy site. I think the lower tier is just... Actually, I think it might be okay. Let's see. 26. Let's say that's a late one. Still says that you should be owed something. I was just looking at the calculator on the back end. Looking at the calculator on the back end there with Jalen Hurts, according to Zach's rankings. And once again, just want to make sure you're having the best. Here, I'll show you what it says. It says you slightly lose there. So if we're looking at Zach rankings and hoping that you can get a tier down, something like this, I'm happy to get a second in. I'm happy to get a second back on this, but other names I'll be okay adding on to this is I saw Josh Downs. Josh Downs. I also saw a name that I like in Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney, I think you could potentially get an add-on to. I don't see anyone else that I would want to add on to this, but if you can't get that done, I think that's okay. Let's go to Brock Purdy then. So let's do Brock Purdy. Let's see who has Purdy. Okay, Brock Purdy, Baker Mayfield. Can you do Brock Purdy and Ladd McConkey there? So for Brock Purdy plus Ladd McConkey, once again, these are just starting points for your league. Some you may know best, like if you can get more or you need to send a little bit less. I also like Brock Purdy for Rashee Rice. I think you would probably have to add something here personally for Brock Purdy, Ladd McConkey. I could be wrong. What else can you do here? Let's have a look at your team again. Bucky Irving, RJ Harvey. So Jalen Hurts, can we do a swap somehow? So Jalen Hurts, we're down tiering at quarterback. Then can I up tier with Ladd and then they're doing a down tier again though. I'm thinking, can we do like a RJ Harvey and get into a Travion? But we probably can't do that, so I don't think that would work. Jalen Hurts, Brock Purdy, Ladd McConkey. So I think these are probably your best ones for someone like this. Can we add something? Yeah, I think that's great. And this one kind of helps you now, right? You can get Brock Purdy and Rashee Rice, and that helps your depth at the wide receiver position, and then you tier down. I think you can actually get more for Brock Purdy Rice. I would say if I know Zach, I would say he probably wants more, but let's see. Maybe I'm not gonna know him after this and look like a fucking idiot. Yeah, see? That's what I thought. And then Lad potentially might be an even trade. Yeah, see? So I think Lad is Rice is the one you have to add. So can you add a name like, you're probably not going to be able to add Jerry Jeudy into that, but I think if you can't, and let's just say you have to throw something to them, I would be okay sending away a name like obviously you start small, right? Like, can I then send, he has a bunch of running backs, right? Can I send Pat Bryant? You want to start small once again and then go from there. That's probably the only one I would say, Pat Bryant, and then I'm not going to send Higgins. Actually, Higgins feels like an even deal, but I'm going to stop there because we have so many more options to go. Let's go with Jordan Love here. Jordan Love. So Jordan Love, ooh, this one can definitely work. And you can get a lot from this, I think. So Jordan Love. I saw Brandon Ayuk, and you guys know how much we like Brandon Ayuk. If you can get Brock Purdy, Rashee Rice, and Jerry Jeudy, you should be getting Jordan Love, Ayuk plus more. Can I add David Montgomery onto that? I think that would be a nice deal for you. Let's see if we can get another wide receiver. What other wide receiver can we get added onto this? I think George Pickens is going to be too much, in my opinion. But once again, this is why we want to make sure we're aligned with Zach. This is, once again, these are Zach's rankings. So Zach, Ayuk, and what was the other player that I said? Pickens. Actually, that actually might not be in. If I had to guess, I don't think that's enough. That is not enough for Jalen Hurts. Yeah, that's not enough. So, which means Monty is not enough either, according to Zach. So then what we can do is tier up. What we can do is do this. Plus T. Higgins. That is going to be a lot better. Let's see. And then we can add Pickens to that. Yeah. Okay. That definitely feels better. Now, I doubt you can do this, but I think what we can do is switch up this format and then add Ayuk and T. Higgins, and then we can also, like, I would throw in a Luther Burden here. You know, like, to get that deal done. I would also do something along the lines like, Alt Control. Luther Burden. I would also be okay doing Jaden Higgins here if you can get that done. This is actually probably my favorite one. Not that because I'm not a Luther Burden guy, but I think there's too many obstacles for him to overcome. Yeah, Higgins for Higgins. Love that. That feels better to me. Okay. Giving you so many options here. Let's see if golf is going to work. But this is how you're going to be able to compete here, no doubt. Jared Goff. Yeah, this is going to work. We'll probably have to go only certain people here. Probably have to not go too far down, because then it would just go crazy. My instant thought was Brian Thomas, Jared Goff, Brian Thomas, Jalen Hurts. I also like Jared Goff. I also like Jahmyr Gibbs. I think that could potentially be something that can get done. And I would also say Drake London. Now, I think Drake London, you can get a small add-on. Now, this guy is like, why would this guy do this? This guy probably wouldn't do this trade, so I don't want to lean on this too much. So, actually, we're probably just gonna do the 2. If you can somehow get this done, I would be okay with that. This guy also had JJ McCarthy. I think the last guy I really want to target is Kyler Murray. And if Kyler Murray's team doesn't have the depth, then we can call it after. Kyler Murray Puka. Or Kyler Murray Puka would work technically. But once again, I don't think this guy's going to do that for Jalen Hurts. So I'll put it down. I just don't think that is something that team is going to do. Right? Kyler Murray plus Puka. Nakua, if you can get that done. And let's just have a quick look at Penix and his team. Yeah. Okay. So this guy is not going to work. I think these are the best options that you currently have here. Tearing down from Jalen Hurts, like you mentioned, is going to be key for this team. And I don't think you're here with us, but we appreciate you. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope when you're watching this is good. And I know you want to go out and compete. If you can tear down from Jalen Hurts there and get some more additions to this team, this will feel better. One thing I would want to look at here is, let's go back and look at the Brock Purdy team, because I wonder if there's a tight end that we can steal there. This is 0.5 premium. Ooh, can we do this? Sorry, I just thought of something, because I knew that Brock Purdy had Trey McBride plus Rome Odunze, and then you can give him Tucker Kraft. I wonder what that would say. Purdy, Trey, and then Rome, and then add Tucker. Yeah, I think you can get that done potentially. This one's hot. This one's hot there. Happy to throw in Pat Bryant to get it done. Happy to throw in a name like Terrence Ferguson to get that done. But yeah, these are some of my favorite ones there. These two, and then I'll give you two more there. But once again, appreciate you. Thank you so much for your support. You should be receiving your customized playbook with everything that I drew up here for you today on the Flock Fantasy site within 24 to 48 hours, man. But we appreciate you. That was a fun one. That was a fun one, no doubt there. All right, guys, this is going to be my last Dynasty team review here. So if you guys want, there's still one more spot to get your team reviewed. And if you guys want to get your team reviewed, all you have to do is sign up at the Flock Fantasy website here, getting a customized playbook by yours truly here. All you have to do is sign up at the Flock Fantasy website using the promo code LAND. Okay, make sure you use the Motherflocker tier. Make sure you link your team. Make sure you select Zach and Badaki, and you want to go all the way up to that live stream option there, live team review there. So appreciate you guys. Gonna get this last one set up here from Goofed, or Go Ofed, however you Goof Fed. Let me know if you are here with us. Let me just make sure these have gone through. It's gonna refresh there, because I think the last one here, yep, it's awesome. I think he was here earlier. He submitted his team, so hopefully he is still here with us. If not, that's okay. Okay, let me just get this all set up here on the back end for him. Developed by the Dropout. Currently ranked 2nd out of 12. Okay, awesome. Let me know if you're here with us. Once again, if not, that's totally okay. All right, having a look at some of these teams. He says, have all picks available for the next 3 years, looking to see what moves I should make. You currently ranked 2nd out of 12, 2 quarterback, 12 team, start 10, another meat and potatoes, or excuse me, another middle grounds. Keep saying meat and potatoes. Another middle grounds here for this team. So pretty straightforward when it comes down to stuff like this. All right, let's have a look at this team here. 5-1-2. Okay. At the quarterback position, Jordan Love, Dak Prescott, Tua Tags, Justin Fields, a great depth at that quarterback position in a start 12. So I know some people are probably struggling at the quarterback positions if you have Tua and Fields there, I would say. At the running back position, Kyron Williams, RJ Harvey, Caleb Johnson, David Montgomery, Jordan Mason, Rashad Smith. I mean, this is also a great running back room here. This is not a start. Okay, great. At the wide receiver position, where you can start to 5 wide receivers, here's your starting 5. CeeDee, Nico, Ladd, Marvin, Rice, my gosh, Jameson, Ricky, Tyreek Hill. This is a phenomenal wide receiver room with Trey McBride and Tucker Kraft at 0.5 tight end premium. This is a great team. Really, really good team here, and I really like it. Let's go straight into some of this admin. Untouchables. CeeDee Lamb, no doubt about it. I will also put Trey McBride as an untouchable here in a 0.5 tight end premium. And we can also put Nico Collins there as an untouchable if we wanted to. If we need to, I'll keep it as an option there to see if we can put him in the graphics. All right, holds. Rashee Rice is easily a hold for us always. Jordan Mason as well. And then you have a bunch of drops, like a name like Joe Flacco with all of those quarterbacks that you have available already. Joe Flacco, I would also say Devin Singletary is a big drop. I don't think he makes a team this year, to be honest with you. Treylon Burks is a good hold. Andre Yeshivas is not hold, a good drop there as well. And you're right, Marvin Harrison is definitely, well, at least we normally put him as a hold, but you said Marvin Harrison's going to be untouchable next season. Mark my words. I hope so. I only have 1 share of Marvin, actually. Just was never in the range to get the guy last year. I was in the range to get a lot of Omarion this year, though. Okay. You are clearly going to be a contender for me. I think your draft capital with everything that you have is just a B flat. And I would say this team is an A- team. You're nowhere near Thanos. You don't have the quarterback, you know. You don't have like that big heavy hitter quarterback. You don't have the big heavy hitter running back. If you told me you had like an Ashton Genty and Kyron with like a Lamar and a Kyler, maybe, but let's have a look. Cheddar, I think you're here. It says, been in talks with a few managers to see about running back price, and nobody seems to want to part ways with anybody. And that is exactly the route that I was going to suggest. Trying to up tier at that running back position here. Let's have a look at the waiver wires really fast before I move on to that. See if there's anyone in the waiver wires. Nah, no one's worth picking up or mentioning there. Well, I think you read my mind. And look, let me just get what I'm getting, what I'm thinking about your team and what you should be doing here, Cheddar. Because if I remember, this is your team, and I think this is a really good team. At this very moment, you really don't have to do anything with this team if you don't want to. You can stay put, you can hold, you can wait and see what this team is going to be in season. You have enough running back depth, you have enough wide receivers, you have enough tight ends, you have enough quarterbacks. One thing that I think that you can potentially do is, since this is a start 5 wide receiver, right? Start 10, meaning you can start it to at least 5 wide receivers. And why do I say that? It's because we like to prioritize wide receivers in the flex position over running backs. They can obviously get you more points, especially in full PPR leagues, right? Because when they get catches, et cetera, et cetera. What can I potentially sell Jameson Williams? Can I package Jameson Williams and Tyreek Hill and see what type of running back that I can get? Can I package Jameson Williams and a David Montgomery and see what type of running back that I can potentially get? In a tight end premium, can you package a Tucker Kraft? Do you have Trey McBride? Even though he's a solid RB or tight end too. In Jameson Williams and get a running back, right? Can I package Tua and Justin Fields? And I think we're going to start there. That's exactly where I'm going to start, by going out and seeing, can I package, let me close the one on this end because that's why you're seeing that. Can I package Tua tags, or Tua tags and then Justin Fields? And we want to look at these quarterbacks rooms and see who we can potentially add to this quarterback to go out and take advantage of. So what we're going to do is sort by the worst quarterback room and see what we can get. Jared Goff, Shedeur Sanders doesn't really have a running back that I would want to go out and try to acquire, so I'm not going to go there. He doesn't have a running back room that I want to acquire. Ooh, here we go. Brock Purdy, Jackson Dart, Geno Smith. He has Saquon Barkley, James Cook, Jahmyr Gibbs. Okay, interesting. My instant thought is like, he probably doesn't want to do this, right? If he really wanted Justin Fields or Tua, he most likely would have drafted him. But we can have a play with this, right? Let's have a look at your team here. Here we go. My instant thought is like, how can I get Jahmyr Gibbs? He said that team with Gibb and Chase won last year. Oh, this guy won last year. Did he? Interesting. Well, I mean, he did have Saquon. James killed it last year. Tyrone Tracy was big in the second half. Mike Evans was up and down. DJ Moore. He must have sold some players here, because who the hell was he starting at the wide receiver position? So he traded BTJ for Saquon right before the playoffs started. Wow. So he's probably not going to want to get off of some of these running backs to right. I'm trying to think here. I'm trying to think if there's something that you can work out here with this team. I don't see this guy wanting to move off to or Fields, even if the highest player I want to add here, like, I'll be completely honest, I don't want to move out of these top 5 guys. I want to keep those top 5 guys. I want to keep Trey McBride, and I want to keep, actually, those are the only people I'll be willing to go out and try to. I'm okay. Everyone else I'm okay to trade away, essentially. So I'm trying Tua and Jameson. It's not going to be enough for Saquon or Gibbs. Tua, what you can do is put Tua, Jameson, and a first potentially. I still don't think that's going to be enough for Saquon Barkley. Plus your 26 first for Saquon or Gibbs. Saquon or Gibbs. I just don't think that's enough. I'm not sure if there's a perfect match here. Now, maybe I'm being too picky about it, but like I think it gets you to the point if you throw in a Rashee Rice. Like, does this then make it a bit something that he's going to like? I think even then, like, as much as I like Rice and I'm a Saquon Barkley owner, me getting Tua Rice in a 26 first is still not enough. So I don't think there is something that you can do here. Another thing that you could potentially do, which you have your first in. Now I'm going to keep your 26 as well. What's his tight end room looking like? This guy has Sam Laporta. So he doesn't really care for Tucker Kraft. This guy needs wide receiver, essentially. I'm going to give you the options. Would it be something that I would want to do? Cheddar, I would just say no. But I want to give you as many options as you possibly can, because if you do want to do this, that's totally okay. But I would go for Jahmyr Gibbs rather than Saquon Barkley, okay, with these moves. So obviously this is not doable. I think Rice could potentially be doable. I would want to do this for Gibbs. Actually, for Rice, I would be okay with Saquon or Gibbs, right? Now, what I think you can do for Gibbs is that you're going to have to sell a higher wide receiver, Jahmyr Gibbs. You're going to have to sell a higher wide receiver to make this guy feel comfortable. The highest one I would go is probably going to be. See, I want to keep Lad. Like, I don't want. If I really had to move somebody, it would probably be Marvin. And we just had that nice little conversation about him. You selling, like, think of it this way. Tua is a throw-in here, plus Marvin in the 26 first for Jahmyr Gibbs. Now, he's really buying Marvin in the 26 first, which is nowhere near that. Now, does he want the rushing upside? This is what we can do. Tua or Fields. Once again, according to Zach rankings, these guys are back-to-back in each other. Does he want the rushing upside with Justin Fields? You can then do that. But once again, I think that's a little bit of a harder one to go out and do. Okay, let's see. At the running back position here, Breece Hall. I'm not a big Breece Hall guy. Ashton Genty. This guy just got Ashton Genty, so is he going to want to trade him away? That's the real question. He does have Anthony. I mean, this guy is surely suitable. Let's try this. Tua. So we want to acquire Ashton Genty. Tua, Rice. What about Kyron? No. I guess it kind of just puts you in that same position. I think if it's going to be Gibbs, it's going to have to be the same construction, actually. It would have to be the same construction for Ashton. I don't think there's that big of a difference when it comes down to getting, Bijan, Gibbs, or Ashton. Those guys are your top three, and then Saquon Barkley can be in that conversation. Because I think it just depends on how much people like Saquon Barkley, right? But yeah, I just want to keep a lot of these wide receivers here. I'll keep clicking on that. Let me cancel that. All right, let's see what else we got. Travion. So I was trying to get Benson and Downs from this manager. Trey Benson and Josh Downs. I think I like Trey Benson. Another thing is, like, that's not helping your team compete right now, though. That's not taking your team to the next level, right? Like, you can definitely do that, though. I don't see why not. I think this may sound crazy, but I've always said this, like, Tyreek Hill, I don't think his value is going to be anywhere than where you want. This may be selling him low, but can I get Trey Benson plus Josh Downs? I think by the end of the year, if we know who Tyreek Hill is and he had the same season last year that he had, if he finished the 2025 season, let me just say it this way, if he finished the 2025 season the way he finished 2024, everyone and their mom is going to want Trey Benson and Josh Downs over a 31-year-old wide receiver, right? That's probably the easiest way I can say that. Right now may be dumb, but if we think about it in the future, we're going to be like, fuck, I should have taken that trade. I would be okay with that. You get more depth at a young running back and wide receiver position. All right, let's go back to what I was saying there. Bucky Irving is definitely something that you can do. The problem is this guy doesn't have anything that he has Caleb Williams and Bryce Young. You can't sell a quarterback to this guy. What you can do is sell Tucker Kraft, maybe. Then you can throw in a Jameson Williams, maybe. Can we do that? Is that doable? Can we throw Jameson Williams plus Tucker Kraft for Bucky Irving? I actually feels like you're robbing. There's no question in my mind if I put that in that trade calculator with Zach. I think Zach saying we're robbing them. So Jameson Williams for Tucker Kraft. Let's make sure this is tied in premium. Yes, this is for Bucky. I don't think that's enough, actually. Oh, okay. That's a fair trade. I felt like you might have to send something else. I thought we would have to have gone a little bit higher or send like a Monty or something on top of that. But if you can do this trade, let's get her done. Cheddar said he wants a first for Ken Walker. Was talking to him last week. Wait, who wants a first for Ken Walker? Did I miss the Ken Walker owner? Or have we not gotten there yet? Oh no, wait. Oh, whoa. He wants a first for Ken Walker. Was talking to him last week. If this guy wants a first, look, Ken Walker, a first plus. If he wants a first plus, then there's no way we can potentially get Bucky Irving off of this guy. Yeah, that's going to be tough. Ken Walker plus. I wonder what was the plus. But I like this trade if you can get it done, which seems like you probably can't. So it comes down to... So going quarterbacks now is just not viable because none of these guys want quarterbacks. We're probably going to have to take a hit with the quarterbacks. If not, we're just... Is he Walker's cousin or something? Let me go back to some of these teams here and see if we can just do straight swaps for some of these. Like, can I send Tua away for... Like, I would send Tua away for a name like a Chris Godwin, right? Tua tags Chris Godwin, or Chris Olave, excuse me, not Chris Godwin. I see Chris Olave. I wonder if you can get a second for that. Plus a second. Look, once again, you know your league better. Depends on how he views Chris Olave. But this is what I would do. Plus a first and 26 first. You can try that. You can also do your classic pick swap. Kind of do a first plus a second, plus for Chris Olave and a 26 first. If not, you can do Chris Olave in a second and go from there. That's kind of where I would go, right? I wouldn't do George Pickens. Jalen Waddle is interesting. I think, by the way, these are interchangeable with Fields as well. Sorry. Okay. I'm glad that you're here as well. This really helps. So that's kind of where I would go. There's another route that you can go that I do see from some of these lower ones if they do want a quarterback. I saw Jalen Waddle down there as well, and I think you could potentially, just like this one, can I get Jalen Waddle? And I like Jaden Higgins as a, you know, as a throw-in, in the sense of like these are high upside players that I really like. He says QBs are not valued high unless they are top tier guys. Right. Okay. Well, if that's the case, these feel like they're doable. Then they should feel doable. If you can sell Tua or Fields for first or 26 first and Olave, and you do the pick swap, like this one feels like you should be able to do, in my opinion. Sitting Tua or Fields for a second, getting Olave in the 26 first with the pick swap, I think should be potentially something you should be able to do here. What else? I mean, once again, I don't think this guy will do this, but just putting the option out there, I would take the chance on a name like a DJ Moore still. And then can I add the second, DJ Moore plus a second? I would be okay doing that if he didn't want to, if he didn't believe in him. He can get it too, but I don't think that guy would do that. You can't do a straight swap for any of these players. You can't do it for Loveland. You can't do it for, I don't think you can do that for Rome and those running backs there. This is probably the route that I would go with these players. I mean, there was another route that I was trying to think of here. It was Jameson plus Tucker, or Jameson plus Ricky. What type of running back can you potentially get there? Which I don't think there is much when I think of that. Like Jameson and Tucker, we can talk about a Bucky Irving like we did, but can we do Jameson? Where is Jameson actually valued as a straight swap? That's where my mind's going to right now. Like, this is the first thing I thought of. Jameson Williams, Josh Jacobs, but I would still want JMO over JJ, I think. I think that's a fairly even trade. Oh. Let's see. Wow, Zach says we will win that. Okay. Interested to see, then we should be tearing down from Jameson then. Or Josh Jacobs. So Jameson is actually right in that range of who we want. So like, I would definitely do Jameson, Josh Jacobs still. I would do I would do Jameson, Chase Brown, if you can. Let's have a look at the Chase Brown team and see where's Chase Brown at. That guy needs quarterback though. I would do something like this. Kind of do Jameson plus Monty plus David Montgomery for Chase Brown and Jerry Jeudy. Can we do something along those lines? If not, I would be okay with Chase Brown and Cortland Sutton. I think you would need more. C Sutton. Chase Brown, Cortland Sutton there. Yeah, that kind of feels like you would need more there, personally. Should have said Chase Brown owner is a Bears fan and Cyclones fan. So can we utilize that? Right. Oh, you're saying he's a Bears fan, meaning like he would never have a Lion on his team type vibe? Yeah. That's kind of where my mind goes to. I think the other name, I think Zach was saying close to, if Josh Jacobs was a little bit of a win, then you have the meat of where Jameson Williams can go out. You can get Jameson Williams for, right? I think this is probably the best bet the best things that I can do here for you. Let me just have one more look at your team. Yeah, man, I just really don't want to move. I really don't want to move off of these guys. And I feel like for you to get like your heavy hitter running back, you will probably have to utilize one of those guys like we did in Marvin to get your Saquon, to get your Jahmyr Gibbs. But even then, even if you don't get somebody along those lines, that's fine. That's totally fine. I would say this. I would say this as well. Another route that you can do, even though you don't necessarily have to do this, is can you use your second to get a veteran running back? First thing that came to mind was Derrick Henry. Now, you probably have to buy him more in season because it's not going to work, but I don't want to send my first. I want to do a second and a third. Or can you add... I would do a second in Monty for Derek. Nothing's going to hurt you. So, second and third, I'll put the tiers, right? So, I'll put it in the order that I would do it. A second, 26 second. 26 second, and then we put 26. Sorry, typing's hard and talking. 26 second. No, that's wrong. Why am I having a mind fart here? It's just 26. 26 second for Derrick Henry, a 26 second plus third to get it done. And I would be okay to do a 26 plus Monty to get this done. I think Monty's in the same tier for me, technically, or really close in that tier. The tier where Zach has Derrick Henry. Yeah, so that's kind of the difference there. I would also say these are all same with the players in this tier. Alvin Kamara. Let's see, there was another one I saw. Alvin Kamara. I would like to do CMC as well. If you can do that. I think the CMC one will be more, you have to pay a little bit more. I'm not paying a first for CMC. I would also do that for Chuba Hubbard. right? And then that's it. So these are the guys that I would go out and target if you wanted to get another running back, because you feel like you don't want to lean too much on these young running backs, that you can go out and get it. So I can also see who starts the year off hot as far as my quarterbacks go, and package one of those 26 first, which I would most likely be late for a good running back. Yeah, that's another great option. So, and to be fair, a lot of these are in season. Obviously, if you can get these done now, that's totally fine. But if you can use a quarterback, and if they're starting hot, then go for it. Um, but you can also go the alternative route and just getting some of these guys now. Because if Derrick Henry picks up where Derrick Henry left off last year, then people are going to want a late first for Derrick Henry. And I know they're going to be like, well, you're competing. Just send me your first. Like, no, I'm going to send you a second. Best I can do is a second and a third. That's probably the route that I would go. But I would go for Derrick Henry, Kamara, CMC, Chuba Hubbard. I'll be okay with any of these three deals to kind of solidify that RB2, that once again, that we're not necessarily worried about, but we would just rather have somebody that is established as a running back rather than leaning on RJ Harvey, Caleb, right? Because if Kyron Williams picks off where he left off, and then RJ Harvey, we had the conversation about J.K. Dobbins earlier, and J.K. Dobbins takes a little bit of those opportunities away from RJ Harvey. That's a problem. What if Kyron Williams or Caleb Johnson and Jalen Warren is more of a 50-50 split than we expected? Ben Johnson is no longer with the Lions. So what is Dave Montgomery's opportunity going to look like? Like, there's a lot of what ifs at the running back room, which in reality, it's not a what if, it's more like, all right, let me just take these precautions before I put myself in a hole and I can't get some of these guys later, right? And you have enough assets here that you can use, and players that you can use to go out and get those running backs. So I personally think that you are in a phenomenal position to get some of these, at least one of these done, whether that's in season or now, right? But hey, Cheddar, you are here with us. We want to leave the floor to you. Let me know if you have any last minute questions, something that I didn't explore here. I'll give you the spiel, but please put in the chat. I'll leave it up to you. Give you a couple minutes for any other questions, but you should be receiving your playbook here within 24 to 48 hours on the Flock Fantasy message system, customized with everything that I drew up here for you today. And we appreciate your support here. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's... Maybe we went the wrong route. No, I don't think that's going to work. Like, I'm not going to tear down from Dak. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to tear down from Dak. But yeah, Cheddar Man, appreciate you. Once again, let me know if you have any last minute questions before I press next. And as we're waiting for Cheddar to put his stuff in the chat, this is it. This is it. He said, would you be more willing to move my 26 picks with my team for sure contender this year? Yeah. So we're not too high on the 26 picks class. Not necessarily saying that like you should give up all of your picks in 20, specifically your first. Not saying that you need to do that, but we're happy to do that. When it comes down to holding picks that we want in the future, we will be leaning more on the 27 firsts and seconds. But if you can, package that 26 first with a quarterback, with one of these wide receivers like a Jameson or something, we will be okay with that. He says, I was number 1 seed for the last 2 years in this league. Okay. No, your team is great. Your team is really good. How do I redo the league order? Picks. Let's see. Okay, yes. So it is having a look at your league here. You're currently second. I wonder why this guy is. It's because he has 3 first-round picks. That's what's really boosting him to have the edge on you. Now his quarterback room is stronger. His running back room is stronger. I would say your wide receiver room, and excuse me, what really sets you apart is your wide receiver and tight end room. You guys are back to back at wide receivers, back to back at running back. He has a little bit of an edge at the quarterback position, but where he is really struggling is that tight end room. So, yeah, I agree with Mike. You know, if those running backs hit, you're chilling. If RJ Harvey can be a top 20 running back, averaging 12 to 20 points, really more in that 14-15 type of range on a week-to-week basis, you're chilling. Like, you really don't have to do anything, because you have the depth. You have the depth at running back. And even if he doesn't hit, from what we know, you feel confident that Monty is going to at least give you a safe floor. Your RB2 technically on this team, when it comes down to points per game, is probably going to be Monty. Not saying that you should be starting him over RJ. I think we're most likely going to start RJ over Monty going into the season. But for sake of conversation, like when it comes down to points per game, obviously he's the veteran here. I mean, he was averaging just over 13 points per game. That's kind of literally what I just said. You hope RJ Harvey can do for you. Was 14, right? 14, 15 points. So you're kind of chilling there. So the potential team is very bad, and that's the number one team that has his first round pick for the next 2 years. Wait, so he has whose first round pick in the next 2 years? Oh, right. He has his first round picks the next 2 years. Yeah, that's rough. That is rough. I wonder what he did. Who does he have? Doesn't have anyone now. Yeah, that's not good, especially in 2026. So I don't know what the tight end room looking like. So if he's hoping to get a tight end in 2026, or he's probably going to get wide receivers in the 2026 class, but he has 3 first rounders. Not looking good for that guy specifically. But anyways, appreciate you guys. It's been fun. Once again, Zach should be coming back sometime this week. I think if I had to guess, I think he will be on the Thursday live stream. He'll be back in full force on the Thursday live stream for you guys. But if not, he most likely will be in next week, Monday night or Sunday night, whatever day we go live. I think it's actually Monday night. Excuse me, not Sunday night. But appreciate you guys. No worries, Cheddar. Thank you for all the love. Appreciate the support. And I have to see if I'm going to be live tomorrow. Today was a little bit interesting trying to get into one of these. So we'll wait and see. I'll see you play it by ear. But appreciate you guys. It doesn't seem to be needed. So glad I can make the live stream. One of the channels I'm actually listening to. Have a good one. Hey, Ryan, appreciate you. Like I said, Zach should be here next, or either end of this week or early next week. And make sure you go check out that redraft channel. We did release some content over there on the redraft channel. Yeah, appreciate you guys. All love, and potentially see you mañana. Love.